Hi everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the second chapter of biology, class 9, that is a tissue. In the first chapter we have already learned about the cell, the fundamental unit of life, the cellular organelles and their functions in detail. Right. So here you have to understand what you mean by a tissue first. Then only you will understand the type of tissue and all other functions. Right. So tissues are the group of cells, the similar cells. It must be similar in their structure, shape and function, right? And they will all together performing a specific function. It must be a similar function. So we can say that tissues are the group of cells which is having similar structure, shape and they will perform a similar function. So then we will name it as a tissue, right? So according to that, in which organism it is present, the tissues can be divided into two types, the plant tissue and the animal tissue, right? First we will discuss about the plant tissue in detail, then we will go for the animal tissue. Here the plant tissue, according to their divisional capacity, right, how much they will divide, whether they will divide continuously or they will acquire some permanent job, according to that they will that entire plant tissue is divided into two types. One is the meristematic tissue and the other one is the permanent tissue. What do you mean by meristematic tissue? Meristematic tissue are the tissues which have the capacity to continuously divide, or simply we can say that they can multiply to produce that new cells. That means meristematic tissues have the capacity to continuously divide throughout their life. That's called the meristematic tissue. Well, we can see this tissue. These tissues mostly present at the root tip and shoot tip of a plant. You can see that plant growth is indeterminate. That means they will grow throughout their life. How the growth is actually occurring? Their growth is actually fixed to some points. That points we are telling they are the meristems or the meristematic tissue, where we can find the meristematic tissue. Here this tissue is having the specific capacity. What they are having the capacity, they will continuously divide, right, throughout their life. So that's why they are called the meristematic tissues or meristem. Right. What are the specific features of this meristematic tissue? These meristematic tissue will grow continuously and they will mostly found in the growing region of the plant. That means in the root tip and the shoot tip. And what is the specialty of this meristematic cells? These cells have a very thin cell wall. Why we are telling thin cell wall? We already discussed that they are continuously divided. So obviously for the continuously division, they has to break the cell wall. So they have a very thin cell wall, right? And they do not have vacuoles. In the first chapter, we have already learned about all the function of these vacuole, nucleus and all the things. Here we are telling the meristematic tissue do not have vacuoles. Can you say what is the reason here? What is the function of vacuole? Vacuoles is that these are the storage spaces, the waste storage spaces. Here we don't need it because the meristematic tissue continuously dividing. They are not at all storage in function. So there is no role of vacuoles there. So they are actually lack of vacuoles. And this meristematic tissue, you can see there will be a large central nucleus will be there. Or we can say that they will have a prominent nucleus. Why we are telling they will have a prominent nucleus? They are having a prominent nucleus because the main function of these cells are continuously dividing, continuous division. Right. So that's why the nucleus, the brain of the cell, right? The function, the cell division is actually controlled by the nucleus. So that's a must for that cell. So this meristematic cell have a prominent nucleus or the large nucleus will be present. Almost all other cell organelles will be absent there because it's continuously dividing and they will have a dense cytoplasm also, right? And they will lack of vacuoles and they will have a thin cell wall. The reason also I have already discussed, right? Now, if you are checking that this cells, in between that cells, there will be very less space. So we can say that intercellular space is absent, even if we can say that if it is absent. Why? They are continuously dividing. So there will be no space provided in between. They will be continuously filling, right? So that's why intercellular space also will be absent here. And these cells are very much metabolically active because the continuous division taking place, obviously that will be metabolically activity. They are not dead cells or anything. They will continuously divide, so they will be metabolically active. I hope you understand what you mean by meristematic cells. Now the second type of tissue, plant tissue, is that permanent tissue. From the name itself, you can easily understand what you mean by permanent tissue. These permanent tissue, these are actually the meristematic tissue itself. After some of the division, these meristematic tissue will stop their division and they will acquire some specific function. So that means simply I can give an example that we all are learning, right? So education, once we will complete our education, graduation or any other thing, after that we will take some specific job, right? Whether doctor, engineer or anything like that. So that means previously we were continuously studying. That means if you are comparing with the meristematic cell, previously they were continuously dividing. After some time they finished that, yes, enough that division happened, or enough education I have finished. Now I need a particular job. So they will go for the particular job. That's actually, they will take some permanent job that we can actually compare so that you will understand it clearly. I hope it is clear now. So permanent tissues or permanent, the cells of permanent tissues are actually the meristematic cell itself. These meristematic cell, after some time, they will differentiate. This word you have to remember, the differentiate. What do you mean by differentiate? Attaining some specific shape, structure and function. That's called a differentiation, right? So what is the specialty of meristematic tissue here? Meristematic tissue have the capacity of continuous division. After some time, right, they will stop dividing and they will attain some specific shape, structure and function. That means they become permanent. So that's tissue. That type of tissues are called permanent tissues, right? So here there are different type of permanent tissues are there according to that, they will form according to the function they are taking place. That we will discuss separately after this topic, right? Now we will again come back to that meristematic tissues. Meristematic tissue, according to their position, where is the locality, where is the location of that, according to that we have divided the meristematic tissues in 3 types, right? So one is the apical meristem, second one is the intercalary meristem, and the third one is the lateral meristem. In plants, you can see these 3 types of meristematic tissue, or apical meristem, where it is present. Apical, from the name itself you can easily understand, it is in the apex, right? So at growing tips you can see this apical meristem. Growing tips, it can be shoot tip or root tip, right? So this is actually responsible for the primary growth of the plant. What do you mean by primary growth? Mostly if you are noticing plant growth, you can see that the plant will grow first lengthwise. That growth is called the primary growth. Then after attaining a certain length or anything, then they will go further the width-wise growth or the girth-wise growth. That is called the secondary growth. So for the length increasing in length, that's actually responsible by this apical meristem, or we can say that this apical meristem, because of the activity of the apical meristem, the primary growth is occurring. So that means increasing length. I hope it is clear. Where is the apical meristem present? It is at the growing tips of the plant, that means root tip or shoot tip, right? If the length is increasing, the shoot length or the root length is increasing, that means that is by the activity of apical meristem. So we can say apical meristem is responsible for the primary growth. Now we are going to the second type of meristem, which is called intercalary meristem. Intercalary meristem mostly present at the internodes. What do you mean by nodes? Nodes are the area from where the leaves are producing, right? And there will be, if you are considering 2 leaves, in between the space is called the internodes, right? And also the base of the leaves. So these type of meristem, intercalary meristem, is mostly present in the internode and also the base of the leaves. So what is the function of that? Here, in between the internode, length will increase. So that's actually increase of the length in between the nodes and internodes. That's the main function of this intercalary meristem. That means it will responsible for the increase in length between the nodes, between 2 leaves, or we can say that between the internodes. So length increase in between the nodes, that's the function of intercalary meristem. Now the last type of meristem, according to the function, that's actually the lateral meristem. From the name itself, we can understand what you mean by lateral meristem. Lateral meristem. Obviously, it will be at the side of the stem or root. You can say that either at the sides of the stem or root, these type of meristem you can see that. What is the function of that? I already told you the growth will be primary growth. That means increasing in length. That will be done by the apical meristem. Now after attaining the primary growth, there must be a secondary growth. In dicot plants especially, dicot, those who are having 2 cotyledons. So that there will be a girth, right, increase in girth. That means increasing width. So that will be done by the lateral meristem, so that it can be increased in width-wise, right. So lateral meristem, the function is that increase the width of the trunk or the plant, right, we can say that. And because of this, it's also known as the cambium. lateral meristem is also known as the cambium, right? So cambial rings are there. How can we identify that? If you are cutting a tree, you can see that there will be some rings will be formed in that. If you are counting the rings, you can say the age of the plant. What is that actually? That's actually the lateral meristem which is forming the rings, or we can say the cambium. We will go in detail in the next chapter, next session. Then you will understand the detail of that cambium. So here we are finishing the tissue, the introductory section of tissue, plant tissue, and the type of plant tissue, meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. I hope you understand. If you have any queries, you are free to let me know. Thank you. In this session, we are going to learn about the detail of the permanent tissue. We already learned that permanent tissues are actually the meristematic tissue, which is actually forming after differentiation. That means attaining a permanent function, right? So what are the types of permanent tissues? There are two types of permanent tissues are there. One is a simple permanent tissue and the other one the complex permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissues are the permanent tissues which is actually composed of a single, that means a same type of cells, a single type of cells or same type of cells. That means there will be group of cells but all are of same type. Now what about the complex permanent tissue? Complex permanent tissues, there will be different types of cells performing a similar function. We already learned that tissue means they must be performing a similar function. So these are actually the permanent tissue, but here different types of cells are there. Together they will perform a similar function. So they are known as complex permanent tissue. So again I will repeat, simple permanent tissue means which is composed of same type of cells, right? Examples are the parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. These all are the examples of simple permanent tissue. What about the complex permanent tissue? These are actually group of different types of cells which is performing a similar function or a common task together. Example, xylem and phloem, right? That we will discuss later, right? Now we will go in detail of that simple permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissue, I told that there are three types of simple permanent tissues are there. One is that parenchyma, very important, the basic packaging tissue, right, which is found everywhere in the plant. So these parenchyma, or the specialty of this, these parenchyma, it is a simple permanent tissue. This is a living tissue. That means all the cells present in that living tissue, living cells are there. And the shape we are taking, they are mostly oval in shape and oval elongated, and they will have a large vacuole, right? So why we are telling large vacuole? Most of the parenchyma, their function, it can be storage in function. So that's why they have a large vacuole, right? And they are having a thin cell wall, right? So mostly large vacuoles are there, more storage in function. So they are having a thin cell wall, and they are actually loosely packed also. That means if you are taking that, this is long elongated cells are there, loosely packed. In between there will be intercellular spaces are there. So that's the specialty of parenchyma, right? So you can see they are loosely packed with large intercellular space. Where it is actually, you can see commonly, right? So this found throughout the plant, right? So that's why it is a basic packing tissue. Wherever it is, whether it is root, stem, leaf, wherever it is, you can see these type of tissues are there. That's mainly the parenchyma. So that's why it is known as the basic packing tissue. You can found throughout the plant body, right? And what is the function of this? Mostly it can be function as supportive in function, right? And it can even store food and nutrients for the plants. So these functions are commonly done by the parenchyma. It can be supportive in function. It can store food and nutrients for the plants also, right? So according to that, what is that function? We can again there are some other type of parenchymas are there. For example, chlorenchyma, from the name, chloren, right? Chlorophyll. These are the parenchyma tissues which is having chlorophyll, right? So chlorenchyma are the parenchyma tissues having chlorophyll there. Obviously chlorophyll present, you know that chlorophyll pigment is very important for photosynthesis. So chlorophyll present, they can perform photosynthesis. And after the photosynthesis, the food will be made and that food will be stored inside this parenchyma, right? Now the second type we are telling, it's not type actually, according to their function we are telling, right? That is actually aerenchyma. These type of parenchyma mostly present in aquatic plants. Aerenchyma, that's, you can say that air is there. So those parenchyma tissues having air cavities, large air cavities in it, they are known as aerenchyma. Mostly it is seen in aquatic plants. What is the specialty of aquatic plants? In aquatic plants, you can see that in the leaf and all, that will be float on the water, right? So we can say that according to the physics, we will say buoyancy will be there. So they will float on the water. So these are actually the air cavities, which is helping for them float in the water, right? So that's why those parenchyma tissues having air cavities in them, they are known as parenchyma, right? So which allow them to float in water. I hope this is clear. Right. Now we are going to the second type of simple permanent tissue, which is the collenchyma, right? So collenchyma also living tissue. It is elongated, but what's the difference? It is loosely packed parenchyma, but collenchyma, it is tightly packed, and there is no, or we can say nothing, no intercellular space is there, or we can even say that very little intercellular space is also there, right? So that's a specialty. Here there are loosely packed and enough intercellular spaces there, right? And here another specialty is that collenchyma, if you are checking that, they are actually irregularly thickened at the corner, right? So these all are the collenchyma tissues. They will be irregularly thickened at the corners. Only at the corners you can see that irregularly thickened, right? So that's actually a deposition is there. Because of the deposition, right, lignin deposition will be there. Because of that deposition, these collenchyma tissues are irregularly thickened at the corners, where we can found it, right? So these collenchyma tissues normally found below the epidermis of leaves and stem, right? So you can see that normally when we are bending that stem or anything, it will not easily break. If you are bending that much, obviously it will break, but normally there will be somewhat bending capacity is there. Why that bending capacity is there? Right, so that bending capacity is actually provided by the collenchyma, because it will give flexibility. It's somewhat flexible in nature, right? So that's why we are telling these collenchyma mostly present below the epidermis of leaves and also stem. So leaves also we can fold somewhat, stem also we can fold somewhat, bend somewhat. That's all because of this collenchyma tissue. So generally we can say that what are the functions of collenchyma tissue? It will provide mechanical support. Without breaking, we can bend the stem. So that's why it is giving mechanical support, right? And also the flexibility, right? So where we can found this? This is mainly present at the below epidermis of leaves and stem. Main function is that providing mechanical support and flexibility, right? So what the specialty here? These all also living tissue, right? And they are elongated, but they are tightly packed, rather than there will be no intercellular space. We are telling there will be no intercellular space will be there, right? And they will be irregularly thickened at the corners only, right? So that's why that's the specialty of collenchyma tissue. And the last type of simple permanent tissue is actually the sclerenchyma, right? This is a dead tissue. These two are the living tissue, but here this is a dead tissue, right? And they are very narrow in nature, but elongated. They are narrow, elongated and thick-walled. Why it is thick-walled? Again, here the deposition of cell wall is there, that lignin is there in the cell wall, right? Cell wall we already known as it is dead, right? On the cell wall, there will be another deposition, which is the chemical substance is lignin, right? Because of the deposition of lignin, it will become impervious to water and all other things, right? So that's why it is highly thickened, right? Or thick-walled, not irregularly thickened here at the corners only, but entire cell wall is thickened here in the sclerenchyma, right? So obviously you can see that if it is thickened, they are dead, then obviously their function will be giving mechanical support, right? Or giving strength, right? And here you can see that there will be no internal space will be there, right? Most of the, because there is no cell organelle, not cytoplasm, nothing is there, it's dead. So most of that cytoplasm is already dead, it's already exhausted, so there is nothing is remaining. So their lumen or inside space, the internal space will be very less, and they will be tapered at the end, very narrow, right? So that's the shape of this sclerenchyma. They will be very narrow in nature, right? So where it is present? Mostly it will be present in stems around the vascular bundle. What do you mean by vascular bundle? That's actually coming in the complex permanent tissue, xylem and phloem, which is helping for the conduction of food and water, right? Along with that, we already told that these complex, there will be different types of cells will be there. So one among them is sclerenchyma, that we will discuss there itself, right? So we can see the sclerenchyma around the vascular bundles, and also in veins of leaves, right? And in the hard coverings of seeds and nuts. That's the main important thing you have to remember. These sclerenchyma, for example, you have already seen that coconut shell will be there, which is very very hard in nature, right? Any other hard shells will be there. You can see that in guava there will be some grainy appearance. In apple or pear, the grains will be there. Sometimes you can feel that grains will be there. These all grains are actually the sclerenchyma in nature, right? So here these sclerenchyma mainly present in the hard covering of seeds and nuts, right? So what is the function of that? The function, the mechanical support or providing strength. And here another thing, we already told that here they all are dead, so there is no channel for exchange of that material, right? If it must be present inside that vascular bundle, then there must be channels for that water and food conduction. So they have some narrow channel which is called pits in between that sclerenchyma tissue. There will be some openings which is holes or pits, we can say that will be there for the conduction of that water and other food material. So here we have discussed simple permanent tissue types. One is a parenchyma, the second one is that collenchyma, and the third one sclerenchyma. These two are living and this one is dead. I hope you have get a clear picture of these type of simple permanent tissue. Thank you.